Hey YouTube, this is Osman on Slicer again. This is going to be my last video that I'll make today. Most of you recall maybe my Monarch deck on Team Tonberry. I decided to completely remake them pretty much and come up with a new idea about them. A lot of the changes I came up with happened due to a suggestion I found on a forum. And then from there, I came up with all sorts of different little ideas to improve upon that one idea they gave me. I'll explain as I go. As well, if you recall anything about that video, I run all the Monarchs as well. I should say I'm looking forward to Dirge, which there's a reason why I'm calling him Dirge. I don't like his English name, so I'm just going to refer to him as Dirge from now on, which is, well, he inspired some of the changes as well. First off, we got Caius. Most of you agree he's the best Monarch out there. Not bad, but I don't view him as absolutely incredible, but I do feel he should probably be limited, though, due to his overall effect. As well, the order I'm put the Monarchs in reflects the way I feel about them, about which ones are better than others anyway. So next up is Thessalos, which he's been getting a lot more play lately. Then we've got Mobius, which some of you still feel like he's a piece of crap, but some of you are starting to realize he's actually pretty helpful, especially now that we don't have Heavy Storm. This one you guys do feel is crap, but I actually find the uses for him, is Kuros. Then next up is Grand Mark. You guys feel he's a piece of crap, except for in maybe Dark Gaia decks or Rock decks in general. I like the guy. He works out really well for me, and I don't have to worry about his ability really backfiring half the time. One of them that you guys feel is one of the strongest, but I don't feel he is, Ryza. The reason why I don't feel he's one of the best is the way my deck runs now. My opponent tends not to really have a whole lot on the field, so I might have to return something in mine, which sometimes is fine, but sometimes isn't that great. Then the one that'll be going out for Dirge, which I would put Dirge probably up in the second position where Thessalos is currently, in my opinion, though most of you feel he's a piece of crap. Which Zavor's going out for him because of the fact that it's completely mandatory, and as well, it can backfire real easy. That's the big thing. And the fact that sometimes I have to just decide not to summon him because of the potential drawback. This guy you'll remember from my video if you saw it, which is one of my more unusual texts, but people tend to love it, is my 3 Bubonic Vermins. In general, great to combo with the Monarchs. You need to sacrifice one of the Bubonics, flip it, you get another Bubonic, you sack the spent Bubonic. Great. Another one of people's favorites that I tech in, Kingwood Soldier, lets you recycle the Monarchs or help clear the field. Great card. This one, I came up with the idea to put it in after I got this card in Legendary Collection. It was one of my favorite cards from a long ago, but I remembered about it when I got it out of Legendary Collection. The Witch Doctor of Chaos. He can sometimes backfire, but he works well with the type of Monarch deck I have now. Next up is the card that was suggested, which actually inspired a lot of the changes in the deck, is Old Vindictive Magician. Works out insanely well. If you've done Monarchs, you know that it works out insanely well. The fact that you flip it, destroy their monster, sacrifice it, then do whatever the Monarch's ability is. Seeing as I have already shown you 4 flip effect spellcasters that are level 2, why not run Apprentice Magicians? Apprentice Magicians work really good with this deck. As well, help with the deck thinning a little bit. Marshmallow, general staple in most Monarch decks that aren't really focused on like the frogs or anything. You kind of need that indestructible monster sometimes, and Marshmallow is pretty much the best one out of the crop of indestructible monsters. Then my last of the flip effect spellcasters that can be hit by a Apprentice Magician. Crystal Seer, incredibly broken in my opinion when used in this deck, which as well, oddly enough, we've got a little bit of an unusual ruling with it between the OCG and the TCG. The OCG, you have to reveal those cards. Here you don't, which is actually kind of nice. But in general, it helps you out a lot. In fact, I think it's better than Pot of Duality, and I know that's blasphemy, but I do. This card, most of you feel, is a waste of time card trader. I use it to increase the probabilities of me getting the Monarchs, as well as there's a lot of dead draws in this deck. Not really due to the way I built it, but it's due to some of the cards that you run with the Monarchs. Certain cards just you don't need at the time, or you have two copies of the same card in your hand and you don't need those two copies. So just swap one out and possibly get a Monarch on top of it. This is one of my personal favorite tech choices for this deck, which these were actually the copies that came out of my Arching deck. The double summons. They can get you a summon, get you your tribute summon first turn, or they can help you build resources real fast. General staple for Monarch decks, as far as I'm concerned, and the controller. All sorts of little shenanigans you can do with that. You guys can pretty much figure that one out. Giant Trunade, staple as far as I'm concerned, for the most part. Lightning Vortex, staple. Monster Reborn, staple. Mystical Space Typhoon, staple. This is a staple as far as I'm concerned in this type of deck where there's a lot of thinning and a lot of monsters hitting the graveyard, is Pot of Avarice, so you can recycle those guys. Very, very helpful. Then another staple for Monarch decks, Soul Exchanges, which is one of those cards that I was talking about kind of with Card Trader, is you sometimes don't even need them, which is part of the reason why they may even go out in the future soon enough. One of my favorite little tech choices, and this is a copy I got out of Legendary Collection, is my Soul Release. Soul Release works actually surprisingly well as a main deck card. I've seen so many people get a little bit of a despair on their face when I remove their entire graveyard, which really disrupts a lot of stuff. I tend to try to go for the monsters mostly, so whatever. Sword staple, especially in this deck, to help you get that tribute fodder up. I run 2 bottomless to really help disrupt my opponent in general and increase the amount of removing. If you guys haven't figured it out yet, it's essentially an Apprentice macro Monarch deck. So I do a lot of removing, a lot of stuff with the Apprentice Magician. It's actually working really well for me. I've had someone tell me it's not that original of an idea, but I was real proud of it when I came up with it. So I know at least the Apprentice part and the macro part, those aren't really original, but I haven't seen any examples of anyone combining the two. So Call of Bahamut, general staple especially, helps with this deck. This card, it's in its competitive form. If it's not competitive form, I do Sakuretsu Armor, but the competitive form are the 2D prisons, which I only do the competitive form just to kind of piss off certain people, but Solemn Wishes combined with Card Trader give me 1,000 life points every turn, which can be nice, especially since I have the ability to provide a great little wall. As well, just rebuild life points if my opponent's gotten through, or give me a surplus of life points that kind of is hard to get through. Which, yes, I could use that with Ultimate Offering, but I don't. And then Threatening Roar, general staple as far as I'm concerned. Yes, also, you might be wondering, since I called it an Apprentice Macro Monarch deck, it's kind of going against its wording because I don't run a Macro Cosmos, but pretty much anything that's removal stuff nowadays is considered macro. But I don't run the Macro Cosmos because it would screw up some of my stuff, like recycling some of my stuff, the Apprentice Magicians would get screwed up, all sorts of little things like that. So I just decided not to even run them, and it could probably screw up my opponent more, but if I ran it, but it would cause me more problems than it would help, really, in my opinion. So either way, that's my Apprentice Macro Monarch deck, and this is Awesome89 Slicer signing out.